Today you're hearing from a lot of people who have similar stories, different stories, but we've all struggled, and you here today might be in your struggle. And whether you are someone who wants to go for gold, which is what I'll be talking about today, or you want to be, or you are gold and you've dropped down like many of us, including myself, did, this message is for you. It's for you if you have golds on your team, have people who are going for gold. It's you if you are a consultant just starting out, if you're reaching for gold. All of the people that are talking today, this is all about you. It doesn't matter which rank you're going for, because you're going to hear these golden nuggets throughout all of them. I get to introduce this amazing rank. So who are all the people who are from consultant to silver? Just raise your hand. So gold, in fact, is one of the hardest ranks to reach. Why is that? Well, it's mostly because you are coming into doTERRA and you have to believe in your builders now. And we're going to talk about that. So here's my strengths, my top 5 strengths. I put my name in blue because I'm matching the adaptability in the room, because I think I'm the only presidential diamond speaking today who has adaptability. So where are all my adaptabilities in the room? We fly by the seat of our pants, we love change, we drive everybody crazy, especially the people who have focus and discipline and a lot of people say, Johnny, you know, I'm not like these people I'm seeing who are very disciplined and who are very focused and who love schedules. Because people, when you try to schedule me, it's like you're trying to stick a pencil in my eye. And I don't do doTERRA in a schedule. I don't have focus. I'm a great starter, not so good finisher. And so for those peeps out there like me, this is the one that I'm going to touch on just a second. Because a lot of people say, Donna, how do you do it? Because I'm like you, I fly by the seat of my pants, and the key word is fly. When I started doTERRA, I was not sitting on the couch by the seat of my pants. I was not stuck behind my computer by the seat of my pants. I was flying by the seat of my pants. I had action. There was nothing that was going to stop me, because I saw the vision and I was going after it. I saw the purpose of doTERRA and nothing was going to stop me. I knew I would be diamond. I had no doubt in my mind. I lived as a diamond when I was an elite. I operated as a diamond when I was an elite. My story is such that when doTERRA was brought my way, I didn't believe in it. I was a skeptic. I said all kinds of no to all kinds of things that doTERRA had to offer. But when it changed my son's life, I knew I couldn't say no. Not for me, but more importantly, not for you. I felt selfish not to share it. To this day, I feel selfish when I sit, even, yes, by the beach, and I see somebody struggling. Because whether I'm doing doTERRA or whether I'm doing any job, when I see somebody struggling, I have to do something. I have to say something. And it just so happens that I have an amazing tool, don't I? Because before, where I might go over, I might say something, I might hold their hand, I might even pray. Now, I do all those things, but I have something so much more powerful. Along with prayer, along with putting my arms around somebody. And I will never, ever stop sharing. When we hit diamond in Canada, we were the first diamonds to hit. And I remember everyone saying, Donna, you can't do this in Canada. There was I think there was a gold here in Canada when I first started. I was the top rank in Canada at the time. And they said, Canada's just too hard. Who here ever heard that? We're still hearing that today. And that we are pouring out diamonds almost every single month in Canada. When will be your turn? It's totally up to you. I remember people even in Canada saying it was saturated. Who hasn't heard that? And so I dropped everything. At the time, I was homeschooling my kids. I was working part-time. I was in school part-time. I had just launched a business. I was busy. The difference between people in this room and out there who are doing doTERRA and who are not doing doTERRA are the people who use business as an excuse, busy as an excuse, or those who turn busy into a reason why they're going to do doTERRA. That's the difference. Because I was busy, but I reprioritized. I reprioritized my time. And that's the key to doing this business. Where is your priority? I didn't use my kids as an excuse, I used them as a reason that I was not gonna let go. That I was not going to quit. Nothing was going to stop me. I had 3 little ones who needed me. And we were living beneath the poverty level at the time. Nothing was gonna stop me. And so when we ended up finally getting to gold, that was when, at the time, founder's position was open, and so of course we had a motivation like nobody's business. My team had a motivation like nobody's business. And people are like, well, how do we do that now, Donna? And I say to them, find your urgency. What is it that won't let you stop? What is it about your team, in them, that won't make them stop? What is it about what they do when they put their feet on the ground every single day, when they wake up in the morning, that says, I'm gonna do it again and again and again, and I'm not gonna stop? What's your urgency? And it may not be an urgent thing where I have to do it by tomorrow or else. But I know this about doTERRA. It's not just success in finance. It is about success in finance, yes, but it's about success mentally and emotionally and physically, and as David Sterling says, even sometimes spiritually. Who has had that experience in doTERRA? Don't quit. If you haven't succeeded financially, don't quit. Because there's so much more success within this company. And finances will come if we don't quit. All of it is worth it. So for those of you who don't know, gold is 15,000 volume. You have 3 premieres. Each premiere is 5,000. Those premieres have 2 executives. Those executives are 2,000. And then somewhere, anywhere, it doesn't matter, you have an extra 1,000 volume. This is where you become a leader with leaders. At silver, you need to believe in you. But at gold, you now are rising as a leader. And that's why this is one of the hardest ranks to reach. Most of us come into doTERRA, we are not yet a leader. We've never led anyone, we have a hard time leading our children. And as I just heard, some of us have a hard time leading our husbands. So how is it that we're going to lead women and men to do this as a business when we're not their boss? They don't owe us anything. We don't pay them a wage every hour to show up. Do you see how difficult this could be? Let me share some tips with you that I have learned along the way to help you with these leaders. First is awareness. Who are your builders? If you don't know the answer to this, then you are really shooting yourself in the foot. This is power. Power is the awareness of your builders. And in the beginning, sometimes you have no builders, and so they're your sharers. And they're just as powerful in the beginning. And then we have our customers who sometimes will do classes equally as powerful. At silver, you can get to silver on your own. I had silver in 3 months without one builder. Possible, absolutely. But to get to gold, that's a whole other ballgame. Could not get to gold. When I hit silver, I dropped back to elite for 5 months. I almost lost my account manager, which was devastating to me. And I said, I have to get back to gold. I needed a new plan. And the plan was, I needed to believe in my builders. I need to find them, and I need to believe in them when I have them. Because it's never about you anymore. It's about them. And it's easy for us to sit back and say, well, I'm not going to invest into them because I'm tired and I have my own life. But in the beginning, if you want to do this business, if you want to invest into your business, all you have to do is invest into people. Is that not the best job in the world? When I forgot about me and my family, I didn't want to do the same thing in my business. And so I put myself first. In the morning, I meditate, I do whatever I need to do, and then I give to the world. And when you give to the world from that place, oh, it's powerful. Who are your builders? Get to know them in that place, because they are everything in your business. So, for silvers, you have elites, yes? You have 3 elites. Some of them are organic, some of them you built under, some of them are ghost legs. But those are your elites. And your job is to help them, if they're not solid elite, to believe in the product. You need to do everything in your power, whatever it takes, to help them believe in the product. Not just for themselves, but for others. All right? So if you have somebody, you want to hit gold and you're struggling with elites, start there. So for silvers who have organic elites, if you want to hit gold, what's the next rank? It's Premier. Jenny talked all about it. Anybody record it? Send that to your elites. Boom, done. And then invest into them. Give them everything that you've got. Help them get to events like this, because they then will believe in the business. They then will believe in the company. And sometimes it takes time, you know? We hear somebody like, oh my gosh, I heard that when tea tree was poured out in my diffuser, all the birds in the forest died. So it's not really good for birds, and so I don't really want to use my diffuser anymore. You know, in the beginning, we'd all hear it. We'd all hear all of these stories, and we got scared. What is doTERRA going to say? What are they going to do? Am I never going to be able to use my diffuser again? Is my business going to go downhill? Is doTERRA going to go downhill because somebody said something bad about them? You have to believe that this company is going to do the right thing. You have to believe that this company is going to have the right answer. You have to believe they've done their research. You have to believe that what they say from stage is true. I just went on a co-impact sourcing trip with Emily Wright and a lot of the top leaders in doTERRA, and you have to know that when Emily Wright talks about co-impact sourcing from stage, it extends to the village. It is truth. And if you don't believe that, that's your job. Because you have to take these elites to Premier. Your job is to believe it yourself, so that when they come to you with no belief, you know exactly what to say. So that your belief is stronger than their belief. Does that make sense? Your belief has to be strong. You have to believe so that you can teach them to believe. If you're wavering back and forth, you're not sure about the product, you're not sure about the business, guess what's going to happen with them? Here's a little tip that I use from the Empowered Success. The pipes is one of my favorite tools to use. I go backwards. I don't go forwards. So I start off, especially because I have leaders who are already building this business come to me, and I say, okay, let's start with S. Who are you supporting? And they'll say, well, we're not supporting anyone. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. You're new in your business, or you're having a hard time with that. Let's talk about that. If you have lots of people on your team, let's start supporting them. If they're not supporting anyone, well, maybe it's because they haven't enrolled anybody. So let's go to E. What have you done? Are you enrolling people? Because if you can't support people, you're not enrolling. Yes? So let's talk about enrolling. How are you enrolling people? Well, that's it. I can't enroll. Okay, that's fine. Are you presenting to people? No, I'm trying, but I'm not really doing any classes. Are you inviting people? No, I've invited a few people. Okay, well, are you preparing? Do you have your list made out? Are you looking to invite? Do you see how going backwards is really going to serve you as a leader? It's really going to help you. It's like, okay, well, you don't got this, let's go backwards. Let's go to here, here, here. The next puzzle piece is, who are you attracting? Oh boy, Donna, please don't talk about this. Because guess what? Here's a little Canadian picture for you. You are the gatekeeper. You are the gatekeeper in your business. Nobody gets through in your business unless you let them. You are the emotion, the mind, the heart, and all of the subconscious things that create and make those things up. If you have people on your team that you're like, okay, Donna, I'm really just trying to get these people to do this as a business and they're not really doing anything. And then I'll say, okay, well, what are you doing? Tell me why you think that they're not doing anything. Well, I don't know. Sometimes I'll ask why. Sometimes I'll ask, what are you doing in your business? People usually hate calling me. They don't want to be responsible for their business because I'm asking them really tough questions. And I'm really open about that. I'm going to ask you some tough questions right now. So you are the gatekeeper. If you are tired and you're busy, and you give that to let's just say that you have a support, an upline, and you tell them, well, I'm really busy, well, guess what? You're going to attract people who are what? Busy. What if you are, having all of this drama in your family? You're having, your uncle is doing stuff, like he's coming over all the time and he wants to party, and your aunt's coming over and she wants to party. Everyone's having a big party. I didn't have a better example, so I just kept going with that. Sounded fun, actually. But who are you going to attract? You're going to start attracting all the party people who, I don't want to work, I just want to party. Don't get me wrong, I love a good party. But do you see what I'm saying? It's in every example that you can think of. If you're not inviting, your team's not inviting. If you're not planning, your team's not planning. If you're not enrolling, your team's not enrolling. If you don't show up and do classes, your team's not showing up to do classes. Sucks, doesn't it? Because we just want to be here, and we just want to tell people what to do. And why aren't they doing it? Why don't they just do it? I mean, I'm telling them what to do. How come it's not working? I've sent them to convention. They went to convention, how come they're not doing it? Because why? Because maybe you're not doing it. And in the same way, you might be attracting people who are rock stars because you're a rock star. But there's some people that you might attract who are not, you have these rock stars, you're like, Donna, I'm like, if you saw my team, like, they're awesome, they're rocking it, but then I've just got this one leg. And my goodness, they're driving me crazy. I'm doing everything that I can. And they're just not doing the thing, and all my other legs, they're good, so I know I'm a good leader. Why isn't this other? I had one of those. In fact, I had one, she was my first person that came to leadership with me. She was my first silver, helped me get platinum, and came to leadership with me. She's not here, so I can talk about her. Just joking. I asked her for permission, it's all good. Because we've worked through this. And I said to her, this awesome, you're here, you're my only person who's here. And then I hit diamond and I had to buy in under her. And then I solidified, and then I hit blue, and I had to buy in under her. And then I had to build up a whole new leg. Anyone do that before? Yeah. How many diamonds have had to do that before? And pretty much, not all of us, but there's a lot of us, especially a lot of presidential diamonds. Maybe except for Marie Kim. But a lot of us, we have had to rebuild, and I definitely was one of them who had to rebuild. And she was the one who I kept having to rebuild, and I'm like, all of these other teams, they're like, they love it, they're doing the work, but this one person, and we would butt heads. And I couldn't figure it out. And I was just like, well, you know, if you're gonna say what you're gonna do, like, if you're gonna tell me that you're gonna do doTERRA, then do doTERRA. I didn't understand. I didn't understand why she would say, yeah, I'm doing it, but she never could find builders. And it was frustrating me, because all the other people were doing it. So guess what I've learned? I've learned to find the gift. I have fantastic leaders on my front line. And this woman came into my life for a reason. She came into my life because I realized that I needed control, you see. Because when I was a little girl, if I didn't have control, I could be very harmed. And so that little girl inside of me, she needed control. And so when this girl didn't do the things, this woman didn't do the things that I was telling her to do, it wasn't me getting upset with her. It wasn't my person here today getting upset with her. It was that little girl saying, why isn't she not doing what I'm asking her to do? And then, of course, it represented me. It represented me as a platinum. It represented me as a diamond. Well, I can't be diamond if she doesn't do her thing. And that made me feel bad, because what a diamond represented to me, when I first hit diamond, man, there was so much recognition. And I didn't know who I was before doTERRA. I didn't know who I was most of my life. And doTERRA found me and helped me find myself. And I now understand why that woman came into my life. And I am so grateful. I am so grateful because I found the gift in her message. Her message was, Donna, you need some healing. Because whether she helps you hit diamond is not her job. Whether she listens to you or not is not your job. My job is to love her. That's it. And that's hard. Because this is a relationship business, isn't it? And I wasn't going to check out with her. She doesn't qualify me for any leg anymore. And I'm okay with that. I'm going to love her where she's at. And I'm not going to tell her to suck it up, go figure it out. I'm going to be there, I'm going to stand by her side. Because that's what we do. Because whether she qualifies me as a diamond, or a blue diamond, or a presidential diamond, or gold, my job as her coach, as her mentor, is not to neglect her. She has poured her heart out, and I reap the benefits of that. How can I just say bye? How can I just say, I'm not going to be there for you when you need me? I'm going to be there. And I can't be there for 50,000 people, I get it, okay? But I can be there when somebody asks me, especially somebody who's that close up on my organization. You hearing me on this one? Does it make sense? She was my gift, you guys. And I am equally thankful to her. So how many layers will it take you to find the gift? Everybody remember this game? Open up the layer, the next present, the next wrapping paper. As somebody who has adaptability in my top 5, this is my least favorite game at Christmas. Although I am quite adaptable, so I can adapt to the craziness and the impatience. If you don't find your gift, you're gonna find it in somebody else, and somebody else, and somebody else. if you don't find it exactly where you are right now. The people who are brought to you are brought to you for a reason. Good, bad, ugly, all of it. They're brought to you for a reason. And I love this idea of looking at your team and saying, you were meant for me. You were meant for me. And if you don't do it and you start to rebuild, that next person is going to be your gift for a different reason. But they're gonna still come into your life. Do you ever notice that when women who, this is a little off topic, when women date the same guy, even though it's a different guy, but it's the same guy over and over and over again, you're like, what are you doing? I thought you learned your lesson. Why didn't you learn your lesson? Because they thought it was the guy. They didn't realize that it was them attracting this to them so that they can learn the lesson of love. They can learn the lesson of that little girl inside of you, that little guy inside of you is looking for something, is looking for a lesson. So how many layers is it going to take? Why don't you learn it now? Why don't you learn it with the people that you have within you? Does it mean you have to be their best friend? No. Does it mean that you don't go look for somebody else to fill the void in your team? No. But what does it mean? It means learn how to love people when they're not giving you what you want. How to believe in your leaders when they don't yet believe in themselves. Oh boy. Some people say go find out yourself a coach, right? There's different ways of doing this. Go find yourself a coach. So one of my strengths is that I love to coach my team. If anybody in my organization comes to me, I will mentor them, I will coach them. And it's actually gone pretty good, and it doesn't matter how many times I say this, people will always, like I never get like 50 phone calls the next day. And it might not work out now because I just said that, but the beauty of what I do in a relationship business is that I want to coach you. This is my strength. It's not everybody's strength. Not everybody has to do this. But for me, for those of you who feel like me up here, I feel so good when I see people who get outside of their own comfort zone. When they get outside their own stuff. When they rise. And I don't think that I can find a diamond in this room who wouldn't say the same thing. To see somebody who was like me, devastated, who had nowhere to turn, whose children were sick, and you stood by their side all the way to see them now rise, to see them now diamonds, to see them now leading their team in hope. It is one of the most beautiful parts of this business, and I will never change that for the world. How to believe in your leaders when they don't yet believe in themselves? There's a lot of different tips that I can share, but the biggest one is to just love, unconditionally, without expectation. What? Donna, this is my business. How can I not expect anything from them? Because you're not expecting them to help you. What you are doing is you're helping them see the hope for them. And there's no expectation in that. Do you see the difference? There's no expectation for them for you, but there's something to be said about helping them see the hope that lies ahead of them for them. So, a few more tips. What a leader does and what a leader doesn't do. This should say what a gold leader does, what a gold leader doesn't do, but you can see this for all of it. They lead with their leader's strengths. What they don't do is they don't teach leaders to do it like themselves. So you're going to hear a lot from me on this stage about how I do it. Does that mean that you need to do it like me? No. What you need to do is find your top 5 strengths, and you need to do it like you. The thing, we talk about duplication a lot in this business. What I want you to duplicate is not my strengths. I want you to duplicate figuring out how to lead with your strengths. The passion of doTERRA, the gift of doTERRA, the vision of doTERRA. I want you to do the action. But you all individually in this room, for every single person in this room, there's every single different way to do doTERRA. They speak with confidence. What a leader doesn't do is they're too scared to lead. You have everything inside of you to do this. becoming a gold, you need to go from a customer culture to a builder culture and a customer culture. There's more hats you have to wear. All right? So this job gets harder before it gets easier. Are you all good with that? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Are you all good with that? Because this is a tough business. It is simple, 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 but it is not easy. It's not easy. They do what's right. They have integrity. What a leader doesn't do is they don't compromise. They don't manipulate. They're not inauthentic. What a leader does is they're positive. And you don't have to have positivity in your top 5 strengths to be positive. That's not the type of superpower positive I'm talking about. But what a leader doesn't do is they're not negative, and they're not gossipy. They're not going to their team and talking about all the things that are bad in their life. Oh, I'm so stressed out. Oh, I'm so tired. Oh, doTERRA, can you believe that this customer got this and they only got points for it? They're not going to their team and talking about all the bad things. I never went to my team to talk about the bad things. If I needed to vent, I vented to my husband. Poor him. Sorry, Brad. But I vented to him. At the time, I didn't have an upline, so I didn't have somebody to vent to. But I would never vent to my team no matter what. And I would never talk about one team member to another team member. Because that's not how we do business. And if it slips, it's okay, but make it right. We're not negative, we're not gossipy. We're not talking about their upline to their downline. We're not saying negative things about it, because guess what that's going to do? It's going to destroy your business so fast. So with your team, you stay as positive, even if you can't think of anything positive, then don't say anything. Not with your team. If you want them to stay in this business, this is what your leader does. They remind the leaders of the vision. What a leader doesn't do is reminds others of their own right goals. Hey everyone, I'm going for gold, so you need to be elite. Now, this happens sometimes, and let me tell you the good times of this and the bad times of this. Sometimes teams need to come together and they need a vision, they need a together vision, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I never did that. From all the way from consultants of Blue Diamond, I never did that with my team. They had no idea what rank I was going for. It was a surprise to them. And then when I hit Presidential Diamond, I would hear of other leaders doing this thing where they would invite their team to come together. And I felt like that was a good right to do that, and it was the best decision I ever made. It felt great to do it as a team together. And so you might do it at Diamond, you might do it at Blue, you might do it at Presidential, you might even do it at Gold or Platinum. But make sure that they're not doing it for you. Make sure that your vision is for them, but that this vision together collectively is for them to hit Premier, to reach Premier, to stay Premier. Because we don't want to hit Premier, we want to be Premier. We don't want to hit gold, we want to be gold. Because hitting it, that's like a one-time thing. Oh yeah, I hit it. Most people drop. We want to be gold. And then a leader asks why. They don't always ask what. What are you doing? What are you doing? You're calling them up. They call you up on the phone and you're like, hey, what'd you do today? Oh, you didn't do that? There's another thing that we don't do all the time. We don't just troubleshoot. I'm a really good problem solver. And I have made the mistake of sometimes people call me and I just problem solve. That's all I do. And I forget to celebrate. So now I ask, what did you do well? What was hard for you? What did you do well? And then I stay there, and I don't let them go into the what was hard. Because oftentimes they're like, okay, well it was good, but like, let me tell you what happened. And I say, nope, we're gonna go into what went well, because I want to celebrate you. And when I always stop them, because sometimes they take time to find something that went well, I don't care if it's just that they kept their kids alive that day. Because that's something that went well. And I celebrate that with them. Because sometimes that's all we can do, yes? I don't want to call them when they're sick and their kids are puking, or someone's got chicken pox, or someone else is like, getting kicked out of school and go, okay, so what'd you do today? Did you do doTERRA? Well, no, because, okay, well, let's talk about that. And I don't stay on the phone longer than 15 minutes. That's me. I get them off the phone after 15 minutes. Unless they're crying, I get them off the phone after 15 minutes. And if they keep going, I say, can we save this for tomorrow? Let's save this for the next time we talk. All right? How to believe in yourself as a leader. Brad talks about this. This is a lot to do with silver. The way to do this is to show up. Because guess what? I had a fear of public speaking before doTERRA. I had never wanted to come on stage. I was a singer, so I could sing, but don't ask me to say anything. I would die. A week beforehand, I would have diarrhea. Yes, I just said that, and I'm totally comfortable with that. And I know you're out there. I don't care who you are, okay? Unless your adrenal glands are so lost that you don't do that. But I was so scared. My first class, my paper was shaking. I read off the paper, didn't know what to do. 5 out of 5 enrolled in my first class, and I think it was because they felt sorry for me. I was not a born leader. I showed up, and I became the leader that I was always meant to be. When I say I wasn't a born leader, I had a lot of setbacks in my life, but I had everything inside me. I couldn't get away from the lies that kept going into my head. Donna, you can't do this. Donna, you're not meant for this. Look at all of these amazing people on stage. How is it that you're gonna get there? Look at you, you're an elite, Donna. Like seriously, you think you're gonna be up there as a diamond one day? That's so far away. I didn't believe in me, I didn't think I was good enough, I didn't think that anybody would even want to hear from me. Lies. Lies. For all of you, they're lies. You show up. When gold is burned, gold comes out very dirty. Naturally, it's a very dirty mineral. Gosh. I have my head all in these things, and that wasn't one of them. In order to get the dross, it's called dross, that's all of the junk that comes out of gold. That's all the stuff that's inside that needs to come out. In order to get that dross up and out, you have to burn gold at a high temperature. And in fact, it's over 1,000 degrees Celsius. And if there's other minerals, you actually have to burn it at an even higher rate. In my life, I had fire. In my life, I had to show up. I had to show up so that I can burn things off. And there's some of you in this room who you come to doTERRA and you say, Donna, it's too hard. I can't do it because I feel the rejection. When they say no to me, I feel that rejection. I can't do it anymore because people said yes, they said they were going to do this as a business, and then they said no. And I feel like it was me. If I was anybody else, they would have said yes, they would have stuck it through if I was anybody else. And so why would I put myself through this? Why would I put myself through the torture of having people say no to me? If I worked for somebody else, I wouldn't have this personal attack. But let me tell you this. When you stop, when you quit, you don't give yourself the opportunity for the dross to rise out of your life and for you to purify into the purest gold that you will ever become, because you show up, you do it time and time and time again, and you never let go, and you never stop the vision, because you know that you're not just standing on your own, you're standing on the power that is doTERRA. You are standing on the power that is the people, the collective that you see here. We are standing on something where we are disrupting healthcare as we know it, and you are a part of that. And we are just in the beginning, and there is no turning back because we're going. And are you going to come with us? Are you going to come with us and share that? Because there's so many more who need your voice. There's so many more who need you. And you have what it takes. And don't shy away from rising. Don't shy away from getting burned, because you will in this business. You'll get burned over and over and over again. But every time you get burned, every time the gold gets burned, it comes out again, and you tear away the dross, and then you put the gold back in, and more dross rises, and you come out and you tear away the dross. I'm telling you, it's so worth it. I am who I am today because I showed up again and again, and I got burned, but I showed up again and again. I never let no stop me. And when you can stand here and look at these faces that I see, and you can say, I made it. I am here. I do this not because I have to, but because I want to. When you have the time freedom, when you can give your children the opportunity that you never could have done before. When you can bring your husband home so that he can be the dad that he was meant to be, so that he can be with his kids, so that he can be seen in the school hallways. When you can let your dreams rise, see them come true, you will know that this is worth it. God doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the call. Whether you believe in God or not, you are called to something beautiful. I can't think of a better job than doTERRA. The legacy that you will live because you rose. And as you believe in your leaders, that's all. Believe in them. You show up to them. Show up to your leaders, and you will be gold. Show up to them. Be there for them, and you will be gold. That's all you need to do, because now you are a leader. It's worth every bit of it. As you listen to the rest of today, know that you are meant to be here today. You could have been anywhere else, but you're here. And you were meant to be. It's no accident that you're here. And I'm really proud of you, because I know the sacrifice that some of you took to get here. Thank you very much.